What is up, you guys? Diggerdan here, coming at you with another video. Today, I'm doing a book haul. You knew that if you clicked on this. So yeah, I'm going to go over every book I bought for the month of April of 2024. So without further ado, let's dig into it. So if you guys have watched any of my previous book hauls, then you know I love going to used bookstores or used library sales, things like that, and getting books that way. Getting used books. And that is no exception for today. There's a very small selection that I did get new, just because it's a very popular series that I'll probably talk about at the end, that I did get off Amazon. But everything else I either got at a thrift store or a library used book sale. So today I have a total of 24 books that we'll be going over, and just jumping right into it. My first book is Tad Williams' Mirror World. It's based on his acclaimed illustrated bestseller. That's what it says. I think it's based off a comic series, something like that. And I got this at a library book sale. It was bag day, so it was $5 for a big paper bag. And I just saw Tad Williams. I'm like, sure, throw it in there. I'm going to get other stuff. If I'm already spending $5 on other stuff, this is basically free, right? Girl math. But once I got home and I could actually take a closer look, because it was kind of busy at the sale, so I really should have made more conscious decisions when I was there, but whatever. I don't really regret anything. But this one, Tad Williams didn't actually write anything. I think the concept is his, but there's a series of short stories. One is written by Mark Craigenbaum. I don't even know how to say that. Sorry, Craig. Another is John Helfner's. The last is written by Michelle West. So, yeah, it's 3 short stories that I believe are in the world of Mirror World, if that makes sense. And it is illustrated, so maybe one day I'll read it. The margins are pretty generous, so we'll see. But yeah, book number 1. Alright, so sticking with that same book sale, I got City of Endless Night by Preston and Child. This is a Pendergast novel. So if you actually watched my very first book review ever, it was on the first book in this series, Relic. And I really enjoyed that book. And I haven't picked up any others in the series. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what number in the series this is, but I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe you can technically read them out of order. But if not, I just got to get all the books between the first one and this one, so I can read them in order. But yeah, it's like modern time crime thrillers with like mystical elements. Because the first one, Relic, only one I've read so far, it kind of, like I say in my review, it's like a mashup of Jurassic Park and Night at the Museum, the movies, together, but then it's like a murder mystery, and it actually works really well. And it is light horror, so if you don't like horror, I would suggest stay away from it, but it's really minor element. But yeah, that one was really good. So when I saw this one by the same authors and in that same series, it was just a had-to-have. Alright, this next one is actually fantasy. This is The Beauregard Volume 1 by David Eddings. I believe this is the first 3 volumes out of 5, or the first 3 books in just one chonkin book. Yeah, so it's the first 3 books. So it's Pawn of Prophecy, Queen of Sorcery, and Magician's Gambit. And then I did look up later after I brought this home, and then Volume 2 is book 4 and 5, which is Castle of Wizardry and Enchanter's Endgame. So I'm excited for this one. Ever since I kind of got on BookTube, or even like in the bookish community and being on Goodreads and like following people on TikTok and YouTube and like recommendations, this has been on that list for a long time. So I was excited that I could finally pick up at least one of the copies, so I can at least start the series. So book number 3. All right, book number 4, going off track from fantasy or sci-fi again. This is a Larry McMurtry novel, Anything for Billy. This, I believe, is a Western. Larry McMurtry is a very famous Western novelist, author, whatever you want to say. And I believe this is a one-off. So, and I've heard very good things about his Lonesome Dove series, and I haven't read any of that yet. I only have book 2. Again, I got that in one of these book hauls used. So I'm still keeping my eye out for Lonesome Dove so I can read that, because I've heard really good things about that, and then continue with book 2. But I figured while I wait to find that one, I can maybe read Anything for Billy. Book number 5 is sci-fi. This is one I didn't know much about. Really what kind of caught my eye is that it was by Tor, or by Tor, I should say. So I know it's sci-fi something, right? That's what first pulled my eyes to it. But then when I read the synopsis, it seems really cool. It's kind of Ender Game-esque, where it's like virtual reality, and they're in a bunker. I don't want to say too much because I haven't read it yet, but that's just kind of what the synopsis is. But yeah, Secret Realms by Tom Cole. I never actually said that yet. And this is a one-off, and this isn't that many pages. It's less than 300 pages, so this is one I can knock out pretty quick. And I have this one, I believe, is my underground for the bingo card for this year for r/fantasy. I believe it qualifies. I'll have to read it to find out to make sure. Yeah, book number 5. All right, book number 6, and this is so far still from that first library sale. There are 2 library sales, and then I'll talk to when I get there. But this is another Western novel. I've been kind of itching to maybe pick up some Westerns. This is by Ralph Compton. This is Death Valley Drifter. This is brand new. This actually was a newer one. This was first written in 2020, or released in 2020. So that's a new-ish. But I believe it's part of a series, and I believe you can read them out of order. But if not, I'll figure it out. I'll have to maybe read some before, or I'll just read this one and spoil the rest of them. I'm not sure. But yeah, this one, again, it was bag day, so just throw it in, chuck it. It's $5 whether I pick this book up or not, right? So I might as well pick it up. All right, book number 7 is Timeline, written by Michael Crichton. I believe he's the Jurassic Park author. Correct me if I'm wrong. So when I saw that, but like kind of fantasy-esque, I thought that was really interesting. And that's really all I know about it. Because I am the type of guy who likes to know as little about a book as possible when I go into it. So even just the cover in Michael Crichton, sure, I'll try it. And it is less than 500 pages. It looks like it's about 490. So yeah. All right, book number 8 is The Road to Avalon by Joan Wolfe. I've been slowly collecting like Arthurian legend books, or like that revolve loosely around King Arthur, because I've never actually read any King Arthur anything. Like there's a series of movies, like a ton of things in pop culture that I've watched. And like everyone's sort of like, I sort of know the legend of King Arthur, but I don't really know. So when I saw this one, I figured I might as well. Because this one, I believe, follows like Guinevere. I lied. It follows Morgan of Avalon. But yeah, I don't know. I figured King Arthur, loosely based on it. I'll give it a try. All right, book number 9 is Rama Revealed, The Ultimate Encounter. This is by Arthur C. Clarke and Gentry Lee. If I've only read one book by Arthur C. Clarke, and that was Childhood's End, and I did not like it. But I figured this is a little bigger, and it's with another author. In the Goodreads reviews, seem pretty good. So I figured I'd give it another try, because a lot of people like Arthur C. Clarke. A lot of people see him as like iconic sci-fi, and I want to try to read more sci-fi in general. And this one I believe is a one-off. So yeah, picked it up. And this one is just over 600 pages, 602 pages. So yeah. All right, now book number 10. This is the last book I got from that specific library sale. This is Children of the Mind by Orson Scott Card. This is the last book in the Ender Quartet. So I have read Ender's Game, and I love that. And I have Speaker for the Dead, which I plan to read sometime this year. And now I have Children of the Mind. So I have to still get Xenocide, and then I can read the first 4, and then I still need the last 2 books. But we'll cross that when we get there. I don't even know if I should get the last 2 books because I don't even know if I like the rest of the series. But yeah, my problem is when I see it from an author that I potentially want to read, I'll just pick it up anyway, right? I'm sure we all have that issue. But anyway, Children of the Mind is book number 10. Now these next 2 are both from a thrift store that I believe are like 50 cents each or 33 cents each or something like that. The first is The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan. This is book 1 in the Kane Chronicles that follows after Percy Jackson in the Olympians, the first 5 books, which you can see there. I read those as a teenager and loved them. It was like Percy Jackson and Aragon were like the 2 series that like really made me fall in love with reading and fantasy. But I've never picked up the following series. You can see I have like the Lost Hero 4 or 5 books there, and then even a couple of the Asgard books, or the Norse mythology books. But those are all my little brothers, so I have not read those yet. But I've heard from some very passionate people on Percy Jackson's side of TikTok that you should not skip King Chronicles, and that a lot of people think it's underrated. So I've been keeping my eyes peeled for anything King Chronicles, and finally I got one. All right, book number 12, sitting very similar area to that, was The Hobbit by Tolkien. I have read Tolkien, or excuse me, I read The Hobbit once as a very young teenager. I think it was like 12 or 13, and I didn't really care for it. But a lot of people love The Hobbit and are very nostalgic for The Hobbit. So I figured I'd give it another try. And this is just a pretty copy too. So it's like, how can you not pick it up, especially for like less than 50 cents? You gotta. All right, so then these next 9 books were all from another library book sale, but it wasn't a bag day. And I spent a total like $9. I think it was 50 cents per paperback and then $1 per hardcover. So I'll start with the hardcover. That was Starless Night by R.A. Salvatore, one of the Forgotten Realms novels. I saw that it was Salvatore, and I was excited. And then I saw that it was Forgotten Realms, and I got even more excited. And then when I picked it up and I went to I forget what page is this called? Like the information page? I don't know. The copyright page, I guess. It looks like that this is a first edition too, so that was pretty hype. And then it was a little slower because it wasn't bag day, so I actually got to look at Goodreads and flip through stuff. And this, I believe, is in the Drizzt series. I forget what number. But yeah, so that was also exciting as well. So I figured I would give it a shot. I might read it out of order. I don't know. Can you read the Drizzt ones out of order? Can you read the Forgotten Realms in general out of order? Does that really matter? If it does, I will have to get the other ones in between. But regardless, it's still a pretty book. Like even just like that, just the gold lettering, you just gotta love it, and just that classic Forgotten Realms logo. So then after that, I have the Chronicles of the Black Company by Glenn Cook. This is the first 3 books in the Black Company saga. I think there's 5 or 6 books. I could be wrong. So the first one is The Black Company, then it's Shadows Linger, and the third one is The White Rose. So I'm pretty excited about this one, and this is pretty hype because it follows, from my understanding, again, I know very little, just enough to intrigue me. This follows The Black Company, which is a group of mercenaries, which I think is really cool. And yeah, so high octane, action-packed adventure. No, good enough for me. All right, the next one is The Summoner by Gail Martin. This is book 1 of the Chronicles of the Necromancer, which is funny because I have book 2, which I think is The Necromancer, that I got from thrift store years ago that's been sitting on my shelf. And I didn't realize that it was book 2 until I brought it home, and I was like looking through the books I got that day. And I said, wow, I can't even read this yet. This is book 2. And so I finally have book 1. And the margins are pretty generous. Like that's pretty decently big font. So even though this is a chunky boy, I think I can still fly through it. Because this is just over 600 pages. This is 637 pages. So hopefully I like it enough. And then my investment of that book, I forget where it is, where I'm pointing. Investment of that book will pay off, hopefully. But yeah, we'll see. This is the first time I saw anything from even Miss Martin since I first got that book. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago now. Just sitting on my shelf since then. So yeah, I'm actually really excited for this one. All right, book 16 is actually a repeat, which I didn't think about when I got this until I started filming this video. And I'm like, wow, I forgot some of the stuff I got. So go me. This is the first book in the Bellegarde saga series, I guess. Pawn of Prophecy by David Eddings. So yeah, this is one book, and like I said, we already talked about volume 1, where it's the first 3 books. So when I saw this by itself, I was really excited. I'm like, yay. But then I forgot that I had the first 3. So sucks for me, but it's still a pretty book. So And then jumping back into the Forgotten Realms, we have Azure Bonds, written by Kate Novak and Jeff Grubb. I know nothing about this book, aside from that it's Forgotten Realms. I believe it's the first, if not, I'll read it out of order, I guess. Yeah, it's Forgotten Realms, so can't go wrong. All right, and then the last Forgotten Realms book I have is Canticle by R.A. Salvatore. This is book 1 in the Cleric Quintet, which I believe means it's 4 books, right? That's Quin. Quintet means 5? Yes, because it's Canticle, and then in Sylvian Shadows, Night Masks, Fallen Fortress, and then Chaos Curse. Wow, we got there together. Good job, Daniel. So yeah, I was excited for this one because, again, R.A. Salvatore. I haven't actually read anything about R.A. Salvatore or from him yet, but I'm excited too because I've heard only good things, really. And it's first book, so I can actually crack on this one right away. All right, the next book is Merlin by Stephen R. Lawhead. This is book 2 of the Pendragon cycle, but thankfully, I actually do have book 1, which is Taliesin, by obviously the same author. There was the third one, but I'm like, no, I haven't even read the first one yet. I shouldn't even buy this one yet until I know I like the first one. But it was hard to say no to this one. But yeah, again, for like 50 cents, it's hard to say no. Like, that's my problem. Like, there's just so many books I want to read, and then I see a new book, and I'm like, ooh, shiny. Especially, that's why I love used books, because they're so cheap. So it's like, even if I have buyer's remorse, I'm only out like 50 cents or $1 per book, you know? So, anyway, whatever number this is, Merlin. All right, book number 20. I just counted. This is The Bard's Tale, Castle of Deception by Mercedes Lackley and Josephia Sherman. I'm sorry, Miss Sherman. Something that really caught me was the cover. This is actually, I didn't realize this until I was flipping through it when I got home. This is by Elmore, the famous painter, Larry Elmore. If you have ever watched videos from the Bard, who's, like, his most iconic video is Hero's Quest, and why Hero's Quest is so amazing. Why you should play Hero's Quest, I think is how it's titled. He has a lot of fun videos, like deep dives on specific works and books and things like that. In one of his videos, kind of go, like, he touches a lot on Elmore. So that's why I'm excited about Elmore, because of him. Thanks, Bard. And that's ironic, too, because this is The Bard's Tale. But anyway, because it's Bard's Tale, too, I could potentially, most likely, read this towards the Bard square for r/fantasy for 2024. Because I have a few that I'm debating between, but this just can be added to the mix. All right, so this is the last one I have from a library. Then I have 3 that I bought from Amazon that I'll talk about here in a second. This is Queen of a Dark... Wait, wow. Dyslexia. Shadow of a Dark Queen, Book 1 of the Serpent War Saga by Raymond E. Feist. I'm a little intimidated by Feist, not necessarily because of his prose or anything like that, but just because I know a lot of... There's been different comments every time I bring up Feist, and I appreciate you guys every time. And you guys can probably clarify in the comments again of this video for me, that Feist has, similar to like Brandon Sanderson's like Cosmere, where Feist had, like, he's got, even similar to Realm of the Elderlings, where he writes a trilogy or a 4-book series, but then it like fits in a specific area of the timeline of, I forget the larger universe name, and I'm not sure if this falls under that. I believe it does, but I could be wrong. So yeah, if you want to clarify that for me in the comment, where Shadow of a Dark Queen kind of falls in the Feist verse, I'll say, let me know. I would appreciate it. All right, and then I'm just going to clump these last 3 together. I've been on a Dune kick, and I convinced my wife to let me buy these new. This is God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune. I know a lot of people have very mixed feelings about these 3 books, but I like to form my own opinion, and so I'm excited to read these. I'll probably read about 1 a month. This month in May, I did finish reading Children of Dune, so this will probably be June, July, August, is probably how it'll go, how you can expect it. So I will have reviews for these. I'll have reviews for everything I read, at some point. just a matter of me getting it. There's just so many things to read. So I'm still really excited for God Emperor of Dune, but I have heard that Frank Herbert's last two books kind of fall off, and even some people don't really care for God Emperor. But spoiler alert, my favorite of the first three that I read is Children of Dune. So I'm not too worried about enjoying these, but we'll see. So yeah, that is my 24 books I personally bought during the month of April. So yeah, what do you guys think? What are some winners? What are some losers? What are some books that you haven't seen in years and bring up memories, or what are books that you've never seen ever? I'm excited for me to get into. What are some books that you think are some stinkers? Let me know. I'd love to talk to you guys in the comments. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like down below. If you want to see more from me, Diggerdan, please hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification icon so you guys know when I upload each and every single time. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.